I've decided to create a video on validation because I think that it's something that so many people really struggle with. And I think it's something that actually, in a lot of ways, most of us experience and most of us have problems with in so many different ways and on different levels. When I was younger, I used to get into really negative cycles of thought. And what would happen is I'd think about something and I'd feel really bad about it. And so I'd try to fix it by thinking about it more and more. And I would just end up in like these negative cycles. If I'd ever had an argument or anything with anybody, it was always a total disaster because I used to feel like everybody in the world, everybody who I knew, every acquaintance that I had to be okay with me in order for me to be okay. That was how I felt. And as I was thinking about it for this video, it got me wondering, do we do this, do we do this in life? Is this what we do in life in general? That if one thing isn't okay, that we feel like everything in our lives is going wrong, we feel like nothing is okay. So then the more we think about and focus on the negative, the more negative we attract, because those are the only things that we're looking for. And we just end up in like this downward snowball. I think that so much of what we do in our lives is actually based on validation. I think quite often we go to university in some ways for validation. I think often we want to go, but I think we also go because it's expected. So is that validation or not? Maybe it's just something that's expected and we don't really question it because we think that that's how society works right now. But, even in terms of small things, in terms of clothes and whether or not we go somewhere, so we wear the clothes that we wear depending on what other people are going to be wearing to a particular event, because we don't want to stick out too much and we want to do the right thing. We want to make sure that we fit in. In terms of the things that we do, the places that we go, we don't want people to think differently of us because we did go to something or because we didn't go to something. Even when we make really big decisions in our lives, I think that we so often make them not based on what we feel is right within us, but based on what we think other people are going to think about it. And especially if it's a very drastic decision, if it's a very dramatic life change, I think that we so often want to know how everybody else feels about it and what everybody else thinks about it. And we think that that's more important than how we feel and think about it. When I was younger, I felt like I needed validation for everything. I remember, whenever I bought clothes, if either my mother would be with me, but even if my mother wasn't with me, and when I say younger, this is like late teens, maybe even 2021, certainly late teens up to the age of about 20 at least. If my mother wasn't with me, then I would text her or I would call her and I would say, I've seen this top or I've seen this jacket. It's however much it is. What do you think? Should I get it? Should I buy it? And she would say to me, well, it's up to you. And then I was totally stuck. And even if she said to me, buy it, definitely you should get it, buy it, I would still be unsure. And I think that just kind of shows you that actually validation, it doesn't actually fill that void. It doesn't fix anything. Just because somebody tells you it's totally okay for you to do this doesn't necessarily mean that deep down you feel that it's okay to do this or you feel like it's the right thing for you. It wasn't until I got a bit older that I actually started to just feel stronger in myself, that I started to be able to feel that I could make decisions that other people didn't agree with. Like, even if you look at small examples, like things like my tattoos, I never could have gotten those. A couple of years before, there's no way that I would have felt able to get those because I knew that my parents didn't agree with tattoos, and there's no way that I could have, would have felt able to do that knowing that so many people disagreed. The difference with me now is that I feel really grounded. I feel grounded in myself and I feel like I have more strength in myself, and I know that it doesn't matter what other people think, and that doesn't mean that it never affects me, but certainly I can get to a point where it doesn't affect me enough to stop me making the decision that I know is right for me. There's so much talk about being grounded, and I think that it feels like such an intangible word that it's like grounded. Like, what does that even mean, grounded? Like, I'm supposed to be grounded. And I think for me, what it really means is just feeling like I'm in a solid place in myself, that I'm in a place in myself where what happens outside of me and the people's opinions outside of my own aren't going to feel like they affect my emotional state. And that doesn't mean that I always feel that way, but it does mean that I can get to a point where I feel that way, where whatever anyone else's opinion is, I can stay grounded in how I feel about the decision that I'm making. I think it's about feeling okay, being able to feel okay within yourself without needing things outside of yourself to allow you to feel okay. I find that when I meditate, what happens is I reconnect to love, to these feelings of love and passion and gratitude and all of these positive emotions. And what I found really interesting is if I'm ever at a point where I'm really judging myself, I've realized that I actually don't need to focus on that particular topic, on the particular thing that I'm thinking about or worried about. And I don't need to focus on how I feel about myself either. That if I just look for things to feel grateful for, even if it has nothing to do with what I'm concerned about or nothing to do with how I feel about myself, if I look for, even if it's other people, so other people I'm grateful for, different areas in my life that I feel are just working out really well, I find that negativity just dissipates. It dissipates because it's like there's no room for that negativity. Once you're in that space where you're feeling so much genuine gratitude, not just thinking it, but really feeling it, it's like there's just no space left for any of that negativity. And so then when we come back to ourselves, when we reconnect with ourselves, that's when we have the chance to change the outside as well, because we get to change it. If you liked the video, or if you felt like you could relate to it, then please leave me a comment or head over to my Instagram and follow me on Instagram. Leave me a comment on there. I'll leave my handle down below. And please, if you'd like to see more of my videos, please hit the subscribe button, and I will see you in another video really soon. Bye.